Hey there, BookTube. Noah. Everyone who reads the Must Converses the channel. What is going on in the chess world right now is the FIDE World Chess Championship 2021, where the number one ranking player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, is defending against Nepo. His name is very long and very hard to pronounce. They call him Nepo. And he is a very strong player. They've drawn the first two games, and the third game is put up now. I haven't watched it yet. We'll see. But I figured I'd do a chess video because I love chess and I've played pretty much my whole life. And to touch on chess books, I'm going to go at it in a very subjective way. The books that I went for when I was a certain chess player, and why and how I used that book, what it's of, so that uh, whatever kind of chess player you are, you can get something from this. And at the end, we have some gems, and it will serve to give you a suggestion wherever you're at in your chess playing, is what I mean to say. All right. So one of the first books that I've come in contact with in my life, and is still one of the best that I could ever recommend, is Bobby Fischer Teaches Chess. There's a small little, Bantam Books edition. I see this everywhere. I see it anywhere. Anytime I see it, I buy it. And I've probably bought it 5 times in the last, 3 years. And I give it to chess players. It's problems, right? Chess problems. Lays out the board, and then it asks you something, and it goes through tactics. And what it really goes through is tactics towards checkmate. It's all about checkmating, and this book will teach you and show you every checkmate combination that is possible on the board. And it's limitless in how good it is for getting you to be a better chess player. So that is one that I've read over and over and over, and I'll read it every year. I mean, I'll read it once a year. Not read it, you just go through. I can go through it in a day. You go through it in an hour or something, right? And you don't need a board for that. For most of these, you're going to want to have a board set up in front of you if you're looking at different ideas that it's exploring in chess. Why is like this. Weapons of Chess is another one that I had early. This is purely chess tactics. And Bruce Pandolfini, you'll see more from him, is just in the chess world, as far as writing about chess and giving players ways to get better, is right up there. There's so many good, it'll give you a situation. Isolated D pawn is when you have an isolated pawn right in the middle of the board with no pawn on either side of it to support it. So it's like inherently weak, and it's right in the middle of the board, and it's like how to play a game around this is something that you come in contact with, and then it will go into all these kind of different tactics that you have to watch out for, and different tactics that you can employ in that kind of positional situation. So that's where you kind of start with a book like that, that's going to show you tactics and give you some positional ideas, how to work positions to your advantage, even if they're disadvantageous, right? I got this one earlier in my chess exploration as well. Kasparov in Deep Blue. This is an exploration of the first time for a chess computer, IBM's Deep Blue, to definitively beat the number one ranking human being on the planet, was Gary Kasparov at that time. And he lost, to Deep Blue. And this is every game. You get a transcription of every game, and you see there's just a move list at the beginning. You want to have your, board out with you when you go through this. And then it will show you the moves and talk a little commentary about it, and then give you a position. So you don't need the board as long as you're really, if you're an advanced chess player, then you don't need the board in front of you. but I always have had a board in front of me when I go through these kind of books. Just an exploration of those games, and it's pretty cool to see that ultra high level chess playing. That's why I love something like The World's Great Chess Games by Ruben Fine, edited by Fine. And it's just a collection of games. Now, how I used this with a buddy of mine who is right around my level, we're about 1400. 1400, 1500 is the kind of rating that I'm at. And then we would just pick one: Morphy, Steinitz, Lasker, Capablanca, Alekhine, Tall, and just pick a game out. And then we would sit down and have the moves, and we would sit opposite each other, and we would play each side's moves. Like I would play as if I was white, and he would play black, and then we would make some moves and try to figure out what is going on. Can we see why the greats? Because see, this doesn't have any commentary, very very little. It'll say whether a move was good or a move was bad. It'll call out that kind of thing. But what the motivations on the board for the players is something that we got into just going through their games, and it's mind-blowing stuff to try to see in the way that some people see deeply on the chessboard. So once you get a really good handle on chess, you got some tactics, you got some positional understanding of how to keep a position solid so that and you're not getting trapped all the time. You're not getting caught in traps or dropping pieces. And if you're just getting good, then you have to start learning some setups, some openings is what it's called. You learn some openings, and it's not that you learn openings because you already are playing an opening, a certain way of playing on the chessboard. There's some kind of comfortable way that you found a structure that is strong, comfortable for you. And you get something on that kind of opening so that you can understand it more. And one of the things I got is called Secrets of the Sicilian Dragon. This is a certain setup with black, a way of playing and setting up your army so that it's very, very strong, right? And let's see if we can find a full picture of the dragon. It's got to be... So the dragon, and see, when it's talking about the dragon, it is the pawn formation that you're going for, okay? You see how there's a little hump here, and then there's 3 back, and this one in front of the queen is going to move forward at some point 1 square. It's going to move forward 1 square, and the bishop is going to get tucked on that black square right there, and then the king is going to be in this corner. So it's a very, very strong setup for black called the Sicilian Dragon, and the bishop is very, very strong in this setup, the black bishop. So it's something that I went through to learn that opening, and now I can play that opening very strongly. I know where all the traps are. I know where the weaknesses are in the opening, and how to offset that, and how to play to my strengths in the setup, in positionally understanding. Once you have some openings, and you play openings, the same opening over and over until you really experience so much of it that you don't fall into traps, and you can make it all the way to the middle game. And you can make it all the way to the middle game where you have to develop a plan and how to attack the opponent, right? And how to break through another solid setup. Because if you got into a solid setup, they've gotten to a solid setup. And so you're playing a different kind of game then. And this kind of book, The Inner Game of Chess, How to Calculate and Win, by Soltis, Andrew Soltis, is very, very good for that. This is thinking about chess, like chess as what it is to move the pieces one by one, to play the game like that. And calculation is a big part of chess, no matter what you do. You're going to have to calculate moves because it takes a certain number of moves to get somewhere on the board by every single piece. That that becomes a huge factor in having to figure out whether you can do something before your opponent does something else. And whose game are you playing? Who's in control of that? And reassess your chess and the inner game of chess there. Reassess Your Chess is probably the best book that I've ever read on the subject. Jeremy Silman. And he used to play on chess.com too. I probably still does. But this book has had totally changed how I play chess. How I approach the board and how I visualize what it is that I'm trying to go for. So I really, really suggest this. What it comes down to is being able to really assess value to different things in your chess, either positional or maybe material. Material is easier to assign value. But there's ways to restrict pieces and to play in a way that if you play with your whole army, but if you just play against one bishop, okay, you're going to win that bishop. You're going to do whatever you want with that bishop. If, in chess, everybody is playing for the king. Sometimes you play for the queen when you're playing, but you don't play for a minor piece more than one move or two moves, right? But what if you really did go in your chess playing for making one of your minor pieces as strong as possible and making all your pieces coordinate as much as possible, then a minor piece becomes a much higher value than a minor piece that is like, say, a white bishop with all the pawns on white squares, where the bishop is totally restricted and can't really move. And if you don't have any useful ways to move your pawns off of white squares to give your bishop somewhere to go, that bishop might as well be a pawn, or might as well be nothing, really, because it's just stuck, kind of out of the game. Sorry about that. But it's great. It really, really expanded my perspective of chess and of the board. That's what it comes down to. And you can't go wrong with Reinfeld's Complete Chess Course. This is one of the things that I went through just kind of over time, all through my first, really playing a lot. Really playing a lot. This is one of the first things that I started going through and then kept going through, because it just builds on everything. You have basic rules of 9 bad moves, how to play with white pieces, how to play with black pieces, how to win when you're ahead, how to fight back, how to play the king pawn openings, and how to play the queen pawn openings. And it just gives you a full overview of everything that you could want to be on the level enough where then it's how visionary you are on the board. There's a big element of chess that is like, trying something new and being creative. And it is a beautiful game. I love it. If anybody wants to challenge me, I'll leave a link in the description box for my profile on chess.com. And you can friend me and send me a challenge, like a 3 days per move game, and we'll just make moves whenever we want. I love playing like that. It's a way to really think about your moves. Catch you on the next one, BookTube. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye.